This episode is brought to you by Honda. When you test drive the all-new Prologue EV, there's a lot that can impress you about it. There's the class-leading passenger space, the clean, thoughtful design, and the intuitive technology. But out of everything, what you'll really love most is that it's a Honda. Visit honda.com/EV to see offers.
Think you know the Brooks Ghost? Think again. Introducing the all-new, better-than-ever Ghost 16. Now with nitrogen-infused cushioning for lightweight, supreme softness that feels good every step, every street, every single day. So go ahead, take your daily joyride in the all-new nitrogen-infused Ghost 16. It'll turn your everyday miles into everyday endorphins. Let's run there. Head to brooksrunning.com to learn more.
At BlueNile.com, you can find endless ways to make your moments sparkle. From classic and timeless jewelry gifts to creating the custom engagement ring of her dreams, all at prices you won't find at a traditional jeweler. And right now, you can save up to 40% on fine jewelry and 25% on engagement ring settings during the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale, going on now. Go to BlueNile.com to shop the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale and save up to 40%. That's BlueNile.com.
Hello and welcome to this special episode of the Paddock and the Pavilion. On today's show, I am delighted to be joined at short notice by the Australian trainer Henry Dwyer, just a few days ahead of his mare Asfoora's run in the Nunthorpe Stakes at York. After winning at Royal Ascot and coming second at Glorious Goodwood, can Asfoora enjoy more Group 1 glory for Henry and his team at the Ebor meeting? Henry certainly thinks so and is confident the mare can win the race, which was her main target when she came over to the UK in May. Round 3 between Asfoora and Big Evs, who won their Goodwood encounter, is off at York on Friday at 3:35 p.m. Henry also adds his thoughts on the legendary Australian sprinter Black Caviar, who sadly passed away on the 17th of August. Welcome back to the Paddock and the Pavilion, Henry.
Hi, Stephen. Good to be with you. Good to be back in the UK.
Yeah, over and back again. When did you get back here?
Rolled in early Monday morning, so yesterday morning, yeah, and watched her gallop yesterday morning and pull up well this morning, and all seems really good for Friday.
You're getting used to all this jet setting now, then?
Yeah, a little bit. We had a bit of a tricky flight this time with normally the flight we get from Australia to London goes direct, but with the stuff going on in the Middle East, we had to go via Singapore, so it was a bit longer this time, but no, we arrived safe and sound.
Keep your seatbelt on these days.
Yeah, so they tell me. Nothing like that, but it was fine.
I've got to ask you, because on the last podcast, you were going off to Great Yarmouth races. Did you have the fish and chips at Great Yarmouth?
I didn't get the tip about the fish and chips. Had an ice cream with a flake in it, which is the dish du jour there, apparently, and had a great day out. It was good. I quite enjoy seeing these sort of a little bit out of the way tracks and travelling around a bit, so it's good.
More importantly, you've already mentioned it already. How is the mare Asfoora?
Yeah, she's terrific. Couldn't be happier with what I saw when I laid eyes on her for the first time in a few weeks yesterday morning. She's really thrived since Goodwood. She looks $1 million on health, and her coat and her eye, and it's been really good in the feed bin. So all the things we look for there are covered, and fitness-wise, she pulled up very well from her gallop. She's right where she needs to be, and soundness-wise, she's pretty good too. So I think everything's in order for another terrific run Friday.
She must seem like a European horse now, been here so long.
Yeah, well, she sort of caught up a bit and acclimatised a bit more. Even before Ascot, she was a little bit wintry in her coat and hadn't quite acclimatised. But leading up to Goodwood, I really thought she'd come on health-wise and look good, but we'd been pretty easy on her by the same token. So she probably needed the run a little bit, looked better, but I think she's spot on for Friday now.
It's a big operation to do this, but you think it's the best way of preparing for all these races, staying here? Because often the Aussies just come and go, don't they?
Yeah, well, if you're going to Ascot, there's no doubt you just do everything you can at home and just have your last gallop at home and then just parachute in a few days or a week prior and then be gone as soon as you came. And that's great for one race, but you can't obviously do that continually, and there's a series of races for her here, as we've seen. This will be her fourth run, and hopefully there's one or two more afterwards.
And Chanel's doing a great job over here.
Yeah, terrific. She's really come out of her shell over here. She's had a bit of exposure with the media and that sort of stuff, and she's seasoned pro now, like the horse. So Chanel's going great.
O'Sheen been back on since Goodwood?
Yeah, he had a sit on her Monday yesterday, and it was only a very leisurely gallop. She had her main gallop last week with a lead up horse, and she ran a pretty solid 800 there in about, I don't know, 47 seconds, which is enough work for her. And then yesterday was just basically stretching her legs, and just ran up her last 400 in about 25 seconds, which obviously we know she can go much quicker than that, but we don't need to be seeing it 4 days out from a race.
What attributes does O'Sheen bring as a jockey to the Asfoora team?
Certainly a bit of local knowledge. I think that was important when we decided to come over. We did want a local jockey just to help us through the process, that knew the tracks and obviously rides winners over here, which he does in spades. He's been very good and coming over from Lambourne and galloping her a few times for us, and he's really been part of the team, which is great. And hopefully he can get the job done on Friday.
Let's just look briefly back at Goodwood. How did the experience at Goodwood compare to Royal Ascot? Very different.
A little bit different, yeah. Royal Ascot's obviously a very big meeting, and not that Goodwood's not, but it's not the same scale. It's a lovely sort of summer garden party feel, I suppose, and we had a lovely time there, and weather was beautiful, and there was some extracurricular activities there. We had the ball the night before and all those sort of things, but really enjoyed it. Just another one to tick off the bucket list, Stephen, and say we've done, and we can move on to the next challenge.
And it was straw hats and loafers at Goodwood.
Yes. I was fitted out with a Panama hat, and I don't think I looked overly impressive in it, but when in Rome, as they say.
What are your thoughts now on the King George Qatar Stakes, reflecting on it a few weeks back?
Look, I think she ran as well as she was capable of from where she was. I think just the topography of the track didn't quite suit her. I think the first 400 being, starting at the brow of the hill and running downhill, she never really looked to travel for the first half of the race. And I'm sure she'd be better for having had a run there, but we're not really going to get that option unless we're to go back there next year. But it was a means to an end. It was the run she needed to have. We didn't think it was the ideal race for her. We thought it was the ideal race to lead her into the Nunthorpe. So I think she did a mighty job with the weight. She chased quite gallantly, and Big Evs seemed to be holding on the line, I thought, but just copping a bump at about the 200-metre mark, and getting a bit further back than we thought. I think she was pretty gallant in defeat.
Yeah, I was going to say, did that interference make the difference? Because it was only a short head in the end.
Yeah, I think probably, but not overly concerned. We went there thinking that she just needed to run well. She'd won at Ascot, the pressure was off, and we had a great week there, and she ran well, which was the main thing, and set herself up nicely for the Nunthorpe.
And you were conceding £5 at Goodwood.
Yeah. So we get a bit of a turnaround there. I think Big Evs is giving us £1 now, so a £6 turnaround, which can't be a bad thing. I don't think it's the end of the world or the be all and end all in sprints. How much weight you carry in staying races, it's pretty crucial. But look, I just think more so just she'll be better for the run, and hopefully she's a bit further forward and not giving Big Evs 6 or 7 lengths. She's only giving him 1 or 2 lengths.
Looking at the records, I can't see any Aussie trainer having won the Nunthorpe Stakes.
I reckon Paul Massara might have won it with Hortensia 15 odd years ago. He came over and went to Goodwood. I think he might have run at Haydock leading up to it, or gone to Haydock after it. But he was probably the last Australian sprinter to have. Well, Hootson was here as well a few years ago, but I don't think she won a race. But Hortensia was the last probably Australian sprinter to come over here and have that full summer preparation, and which I think her biggest win was the Nunthorpe, yeah. And she won a Dubai on the way over from memory.
Oh, you caught me out there. You said earlier that the Nunthorpe was the main target when you first came over. Why was that the main target?
We just thought by that stage she'd be fit enough. We thought that York would be the most suitable track for her coming from Australia and what she's raced on previously. 1,000 metres on a flat surface was always going to be to her strength and experience, as opposed to the other horses that have sort of raced at Goodwood and Ascot and Haydock and that sort of thing. Haydock was never overly suitable first up, given the wet track and given she was going to need the run. But Ascot, we had her in the order that we needed to, but we just weren't 100% sure about the track. the uphill rise. But as it turns out, she was good enough to win, and went to Goodwood, thinking that we'd have to back off her to have her at a prime for the Group 1. And we thought she might still be able to win, and she nearly did. But now that we've got her 100%, I think she's right, and I think she gets the right track shape, and just hoping she can draw somewhere near the speed and get a really nice run.
The bookies certainly think so. They've got you priced at 2-1 and Big Evs at 4-1.
Yeah, well, that's always the best guide, isn't it? There's a reason they drive around in Rolls Royces and punters drive around in beaten up old Ford Falcons, because they generally get it right. So I'm hoping they're right on this occasion, and she's I would have said it's probably her right price, 2-1.
This episode is brought to you by Experian. Are you paying for subscriptions you don't use but can't find the time or energy to cancel them? Experian could cancel unwanted subscriptions for you, saving you an average of $270 per year and plenty of time. Download the Experian app. Results will vary. Not all subscriptions are eligible. Savings are not guaranteed. Paid membership with connected payment account required.
Lucky Land Slots, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Would you agree it's a stronger field for this race than the other two?
To an extent, it's pretty similar. You've got, Big Evs, Believing, Regional, Living the Dream. They've all been pretty competitive together. You're just adding in a couple of extras, mainly Bradsell, who won, the Royal Ascot last year and was good on return in France. But look, he's obviously got a few issues, and he seems to have won first up well. But we always find, I don't know whether it's a thing here, but horses that are second up from a long break tend to plateau out a little bit. And that might be the case with him. But look, we can only worry about our horse, and she's in as good a order as we can have her. So we're happy with that.
You've got all the top sprinters in Britain running, as you say. Live the Dream, who won the race last year, Regional second at Royal Ascot, Believing, Big Evs, and Bradsell as well.
Yeah, I think, certainly on form, Asfoora and Big Evs have proved himself the best two this year amongst sort of the sprinters, and Bradsell adds another dimension, which is interesting. And I just think it's a nice race for her, and York generally gives the best horse on the day a chance, and hopefully that's us.
Yes, round 3 on Friday. Do you like these rivalries that you get with horses and trainers?
Yeah, it's good. I think at the start of the season, everyone was a bit doom and gloom about the sprinting ranks and how boring a year it was going to be, and there was no stars there. But regardless of that, I think a bit of healthy competition adds a bit of interest, and they seem like a good crew. The Big Evs crew, we had a beer with them after the race at Goodwood, and just had a chat to them. It was good. It's good to meet new people in life, and good to have new experiences, and that's what it's been for us.
And have you been to York races before yourself?
Yeah, I was up there, I reckon, when she ran at Haydock. I came over, and I was up at York for one of their Saturday race meetings, which was good fun. It was a great experience to actually get there, and I met William Darby and had a look around and had a walk of the track, and I'm pretty happy with what I saw.
You'll be there for the big race at Juddmonte on Wednesday?
No, we're still in Newmarket, so we're going to have a tour and lunch at the Jockey Club rooms, and watch the races there, and then just head up with the horse on Friday and stay for the races Friday, Saturday.
You're tuned in to the Paddock and the Pavilion with Stephen Wallace. Previously, Henry joined us in episodes 272 and 281, before Asfoora's races at Royal Ascot and Glorious Goodwood. If you missed those episodes, you can catch up with them and explore our entire archive on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and on our YouTube channel. Now let's get back to Henry. One star racehorse that passed away only a few days ago, Black Caviar, one of the most famous, brilliant sprinters in Australia and across the world, only passed away on the 17th of August. How high do you rate her as a sprinter?
Well, clearly she was one of the best sprinters Australia's produced. There was always comparisons in Australia between her and Vane. Vane was In the early 70s, he was trained by the Maloneys, and he was a horse that I think he only had 8 or 9 starts, but he won them all, and he was a terrific colt. And then she came along, and there was always comparisons, and she, just an amazing training performance from Peter Moody to win 25 out of 25 with her. You know how hard it is to win 3 or 4 races on him with a horse, let alone 25 with, everything needs to go right. And least of all luck. You need luck, and she had it, and probably was good enough to get herself out of bad luck on occasion. But she came along when I just started training. I was training at Caulfield, where Pete Moody and Black Caviar were based, and got to see her every morning and see what work they were doing with her. And as a 26, 27-year-old trainer starting out, it was an amazing learning experience to sort of watch her and watch Peter Moody and all the rest of it. So it was very good.
15 Group 1 wins and a win at Royal Ascot in 2012. Did you get to see her race live as well?
Oh, yeah, I would have been there many times. I can't specifically think of one that was better than the others, but early doors, it was just a nice horse going through the grades, but towards the end, she was probably jet-setting a fair bit and racing in Queensland and South Australia and New South Wales, but certainly most of the time she won in Victoria, I would have been on course. And, I was, it was good to be able to see it from the inside out, seeing her training and knowing the trainer and all the staff associated with her. And it was a really good life experience.
But there was a great buzz when she was at the races.
Yeah, absolutely. Just towards the end, it was just, and similar with Winx as well, it just, they were packing out every place she went to, and the crowds were just there to see her, which, you got to be a special horse for that to happen.
Back to a special horse or special mare in Asfoora, all set then for Friday. If all goes well, will you then stay on again?
Yeah, well, just at this stage of the prep, taking it run by run, because she's only had, this will be her 4th run here. She did have 3 runs prior to coming across, so she's been racing since February, and she was able to have a little break after Ascot, which was good for her. So we try to prolong the preparation that way. But there's options after it, whether it's France or Ireland or America or a combination of those, or back to Australia for our spring carnival. It'll just depend on somewhat how she runs, but more so how she pulls up.
Are you even tempted to come back again next year?
Yeah, I'd say so. We if she's in good order, Akram, the owner, is keen to race on. But that'll be up to her to tell us. And there's a good series of races for her, and they're weight for age. So this year's wins don't really change anything weight wise next year, and there's not a lot for her in Australia. So we'd be, if she was in good order, we'd probably be back.
Oh, it's a long way ahead, but the best of luck and hope for more Group 1 glory on Friday.
Yeah, terrific. Thanks for that, Stephen. Good to catch up.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.